Okay. Alright guys, so today we're going to do Industrial Revolution, the third day. We already talked about the Industrial Revolution in Great Britain and in the US. So today we're going to talk about the effects, the short-term and long-term effects, the working condition, the child labor. So the standard for today is summarizing social and economic effects of the Industrial Revolution. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. After today, I want you to know about it and understand that children were forced to work under horrific circumstances and working conditions during the Industrial Revolution. Okay? These are the essential questions I want you to know. So after today, you should answer what were the effects of the Industrial Revolution. You should be able to know who worked in the labor factories during the Industrial Revolution and what conditions were the children forced to work under in factories. Okay? These are some common core standards you also need to know. When you're going to have a station activity later, and I'll explain exactly what you do. You're going to have to cite evidence from the sources. Okay? So we're going to go through primary sources, photographs, supplemental reading, and then when you answer the questions, you're going to have to make sure that you cite your evidence and give examples, provide examples. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so their Industrial Revolution, if you look at your paper that you got earlier, your notes paper, if you want to fill out what's blank, the first Industrial Revolution was in 1760. So it has to do with textiles. Textiles are like fabrics. What kind of products did they use in Great Britain that was very successful, they were very successful with for textiles, fabrics? Cotton. Okay, coal. What was coal used for?
To power the machines.
To power machines, good job.
Also water.
Yes, and water, good job, you remember. Okay, so iron was also useful, and they also built a lot of railroads to transport the goods. Okay, so that's the first Industrial Revolution. Today we're going to discuss more of the second Industrial Revolution. So the second Industrial Revolution was 1860. So this was 100 years later. So they already had a lot of different inventions. They had electricity, steel. So they had a lot more inventions during the Industrial Revolution. Okay. So what do you think is going to happen what do you think happened to the population between the 1760s and the 1860s?
Increases?
Yes, it increased. And if you look down here, here are some statistics. Europe during the 1750 to 1850 went from 140 million people to 266 million people, so it almost doubled. Okay. Why do you think it doubled so much? Why do you think it grew so much, the population? The Europe population. What would make a population grow? What was it? Okay, but what specific reasons from the Industrial Revolution would cause a population to grow? Yeah, better interventions, better jobs, better opportunity, clothes, medicine. Okay. Okay, so here are some short-term effects. So we already know about some of these. Like I was saying, there's mass production. So there was factories. Mass production is growing a large amount of products at once. Okay? So to do this, you need factories. And then they also did mining for the raw resources like coal. Okay? So mass production, factories, mining, doing all that made goods be produced quicker, and they were cheaper than before. Another thing that happened was an increase in transportation. So they needed to move these goods that they were making. So they transported them in railroads. So they had a lot of railroads being built in the Great Britain and in the United States. Okay? So who's building these railroads? Workers. So that created job opportunities also. Rising middle class. So new social classes emerged. So people were starting to own their own businesses, making more money, or working, making more money. Because before it was rough, there was not a lot of employment. So now there was a plentiful employment. So they started making more money. Then the people that owned the businesses would start making even more money. So they were able to enjoy more luxuries. The wives didn't have to work. They would stay home with the kids, and the husbands will go to work. So that created a middle class. Like I said, new opportunities generated more jobs. Industrial capitalism, economic system based on industry. What is economic?
Money?
Money, having to do with money. So it was a money system based on industry, so based on these businesses that were happening. So the Europe and the United States dominated in the world economy. So if you have a lot of money, what do you think happens? What is the impact of having a lot of money? For a country.
More jobs.
Okay, more jobs, but you have a lot of money, so it gives you more what?
Freedom.
Power.
Oh.
Yes. So they had a lot of power. Okay, so that's some of the short-term effects. You guys wrote down, got it all written down. Okay, here are some of the, technical difficulty. Okay, here's some of the negative long-term effects. Okay, so these peasants started working. So they started getting money, so that's a good thing. But they had long hours and they had low pay. The pay was really low. If you read, when we go over to Station 5, you're gonna read about how much they made in the US and Great Britain, and you're gonna compare the two. So some of them would make like anywhere from like a penny to 10 cents an hour. Imagine that.
What was like the cost of like food back then?
It was pretty cheap as well. It depends what kind of food, but like the bread. I'm gonna also show you a comparison tomorrow of the cost of living. So we'll get more into that tomorrow. But yeah, it was like for like a lunch, it would be like maybe like 5 cents or something like that. So it was like half a day's pay, something like that. And if you were late, they would dock you like half a penny. Or if you were late, they would beat you.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. There was dangerous and poor working conditions. So a lot of the people that started working in these jobs, they didn't have money for shoes. They were very, very poor. So they would work in factories with big machines without shoes. A lot of them got injured, and they would be easily replaced. And a lot of them were children. Okay, children often work in families for their factories. So if the children are working, what are they missing? If they're going to work, education, school, so they lacked education. They had to work to help their families. And these children were as young as 4 years old working in factories. Imagine that, a 4-year-old.
No había escuela.
So, sí había escuela, pero las familias necesitaban que los niños trabajaran porque eran bien pobres. So, los niños que tenían 4 años fueron a trabajar. Desde 4 años. Y trabajando 16 horas.
Wow.
En horribles condiciones.
Entonces las personas que tenían poder, los niños iban a la escuela, porque tenían poder, dinero para...
Sí, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the ones that had the more money, they were able to send their kids to school. But if you were poor, your kids had to go to work. And if you see in station number 4, there's a family, there's one lady with like 10 kids, and you're gonna have to analyze that photo, and you're gonna answer the question that's under the photo for that one. There was also bad living conditions. So there was a population increase, but then it started getting like overpopulated. Too many people started coming over to the cities from rural areas. And then there would be like 20 people in one apartment. So it would be overcrowded, it would be unsanitary, so it was bad living conditions. There was no sewer system, there was no trash collection, so the streets were full of trash. There was more pollution from factories. Imagine all of these new factories and all the new pollution coming out. And that led to more diseases because of poor sanitation. So now we're gonna start does anyone have any questions about that?
No.
Okay. Another question before we start. Do you guys see all these things that are bad? These children, 4-year-olds working 16-hour days, getting beaten, in bad conditions, living conditions, bad working conditions, bad ventilation in these places, bad lighting, all that stuff. It was really dangerous.
Right.
How long do you think it would last before someone gets upset about these conditions?
5 years.
A year.
What do you think is gonna happen once they do all get upset?
Revolution. They'll protest.
There you go. So after this, tomorrow we're probably gonna talk about how they start going on strikes and they start creating unions so that these types of conditions don't happen. Mhm.
Like a king.
Yeah. This would be like in the 1800s. I'm not sure exactly which one, but yeah. In Europe, they had kings, and in the United States, they have presidents. And they did pass an act in 1883, I want to say. I'll tell you for sure tomorrow. But that they changed the age of working to 9 years old instead of 4. So they slowly started making it better. But it took a while. Okay? So today we're going to talk in depth about various photographs. In Station 4, there's photographs that you're going to analyze. There's primary source interviews, Station 1, 2, and 3, that has people from first-hand experiences of working in the factories and what the conditions were like. And there's a supplement, a number 5, that you compare the working conditions and also the pay and all of that stuff for the Great Britain and for the United States. So you just fill out a little chart for number 5. So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to each station. You're gonna have, I'll time you, you have about 30 minutes for the entire station. You're gonna write at each station, you're gonna analyze, comment, notice, look at the pictures, look at the interviews, read the supplement, and then you're gonna answer the questions that you have in your group paper, okay? Make sure you guys agree on your analysis, write down your agreed analysis. When you come back together to your seats, then we're gonna discuss your analysis as a class. And then we're gonna share the answers. So we're gonna do all this in 30 minutes. And then we'll talk about if you learned anything from your proficiency level from 1 to 4, how you felt, what you learned, okay? So let's start your analysis of each station. If you see too many people crowded on one station, move to another station. Don't stay in that one spot.
Yes,
So you guys can start with your groups. Is everyone clear on what you have to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so ¿entienden qué tienen que hacer?
Yeah.
Okay, so tienen que completar cada station y tienen 30 minutos para hacerlo completo. Y yo voy a pasar y ver cómo están. Okay, so you guys can start, get up and start going to each station, and then I'm gonna come around and check on you guys and ask you guys some questions and see how you're doing. Like if you guys want to start at the pictures or here, you guys can start. There's some right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so start reading the little background information. This is station number 2, so this is interview number 2. And read the background information, and then I'm gonna come around and ask you guys some questions, okay? Angel.
No, right? Okay, then right there. What's that? How does it relate to English? Why is this so literally the word crab and tree and putting together.
How old were you when you started working?
No, and your group paper. You guys can answer your group paper. I just need that one paper turned in. Answer your group paper. And I'm gonna come around and check on you guys in a minute. Okay, ustedes son en este station. Okay. So, esto es un interview. So, tienes que ver, como analizar quién están haciendo el interview, si es un niño, si es un adulto, si era supervisor, si era trabajador, y cómo eran las condiciones. Miss, can you come here real quick? Tienen 15 minutos para tratar de acabar como 3.
It's 18, bro.
So, did you guys read?
Yes.
So, what's happening over here?
So basically, it's an interview.
When did this happen?
Oh, in 1830.
Yes, 18, I'll be right there.
Dos referencias a leemos
Y respuestas en el papel.
¿qué tenemos que cuáles son las preguntas?
Están en el papel que te di el grupo. Okay, so in 1832, and where was it at? In the historical content section. On the top. Great Britain. And who were they interviewing? Elizabeth Bentley, a factory worker. Okay, so what did you learn about Elizabeth? How old was she when she started? 6. And what did she do? Do you have it on your paper? A doffer. A doffer, it says there, is a person that changes the empty, like, spindles. So the spindles are like a long piece of like wood, and they would wrap, it would have like the fibers of the cotton and the wool wrapped around it, and whenever it would empty out, they had to change it. So it was like a job that anyone could do. That's why children could do it. But it was tiring, like all day long, changing the spindles. And then how long does she work for? Like how many hours a day?
From 5 in the morning to 9 at night.
Yes.
5 to 9.
Yeah, that
5 in
is
the morning? How does
16 hours.
a 6-year-old wake up at 5? I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. If you see towards the end, it shows like the parents' involvement. Like the parents would have to try to like wake them up and make sure that they got there on time, because if they didn't get there on time, what happened to them?
They took out.
They either docked their pay or what else? On page 3. Look towards like the top middle.
Took out money? No.
Yeah, they did that. And what else did they do?
Oh, whip them.
Yes. They would whip them. And it says, was it constant? Yes. Was it severe? Yes. So they would whip them severely. And they were little kids up from age 4. And so, can you wait till I'm done with the group and then come? And then you can come around this way. Alright, yeah. So these little kids, and a lot of times they were so poor they didn't have shoes and they were working in these conditions. And in her case, Elizabeth Bentley, she actually did get deformed at the age of 13, and she couldn't work because of working in the factory for all those years when she was little. Okay, so move on to another station and learn more in depth about what they went through. Okay. All right, guys, you guys should be done with at least 2 stations by now. You guys are doing the picture station. Okay, how are you guys doing?
Good, very good.
Okay, tell me what you learned so far in
That
this station.
this girl had like 10 kids.
Oh, that's your picture.
Yeah, and he died. He died on the stairs.
So now, did you see how the kids were dressed and stuff in the picture?
Yeah.
They didn't have shoes, they were dirty. So, out of all those kids, how many kids do you think are gonna have to go to work?
All of them.
From up to 4 and up to 8.
The last one was like 2 years old. That's standing still.
I'm sure it's like 1 year old. Do you have this brother and sister that are like that age?
I'm a dog. PG.
How old is your How old?
Like 40.
Can you imagine working at a factory?
Right? Like, what did he do? Like,
Guys, someone should be in station. Okay, good. El propósito de la actividad es que caminan a cada station, no toman fotos de cada station.
Para estar seguro que no se nos haya hecho mal, que no hagamos desvíos humanos.
Ok, porque no están supuestos usar los teléfonos. Ok, Jesús, ¿pueden mover? ¿Pueden entrar? Alright, next, so, yeah, that's his last name. That's a common last name in Great Britain. Look where he's from, Great Britain. That's a common last name in English. So read about him. How old was he when he started working in the factory? No?
24.
No, that's when they interviewed him.
That's what age right now.
He was 8. Now read about how many hours he had to work. In this page number 2. He worked there for 4 years. So from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So when he was 12 years old, he already had 4 years of working experience. Isn't that crazy? Look good. Page number 2. How long did he work? Yeah, 14 hours. For 8-year-olds. Yeah.
That's good though. So they teach him young.
Yes and no, because he had to walk 2 miles to go to work. And if he was late, what did they do then? They beat him. So he was late.
How far is that? Like, let's say it was in today's condition, like, he had transportation, featherized, so like,
All right, I'm gonna come around to you guys. How are you doing? Hey, you guys have about 6 minutes to complete at least 3 stations. So what's happening here? Why is it dangerous? Porque algunos tenían. Aguantaban dinero. O buscaron lo de alguien más, o si lo encontraron en la ciudad. Algunos tenían. Como ahora. Yeah, so did you write that down? So, sí, eso era un poco bien Yeah, so that's what newbies were. So why would their job be worse than software jobs? What about people? 5 to 3? What do you think? What are we talking about? 5 in the morning? 9 at They were like,
They were gone.
Si tenían amigos, si no, tenía que... ¿Y tú viste ese de foto?
El primero
Minutes at noon.
Really bad. And if they didn't make it like that, they would beat them in here. Like, they would beat them like a little kid. Yeah. Alright guys, go ahead into your seats and then we're gonna go over one more thing real quick on your paper. Alright, we'll finish the rest of the stations tomorrow. Guys, can you get to your seats real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna continue the class discussion tomorrow. So I'm gonna ask you guys individually. And also I'm gonna talk about the scale. If you felt that how you felt from 1 to 4, but this we're gonna complete the rest tomorrow. But just so you know, for number 4, it would be that you have a great understanding of child labor and its effects on both the past and the present, including its definition, practices, and history in the United States and Great Britain. Number 3 would be that you have a good understanding of all of that.
4.
Number 2 would be you have some basic understanding. And number 1 would be like you have little to no understanding. And it doesn't matter what level you're on because we're only on day number 3 for this unit. Even if you're number 1 or number 2, it's okay. Just tell me what you need a clarification on and I can help you. Okay? Yes, you could circle it on your paper. But if you want to wait until tomorrow until we're done with the whole class discussion and all of that,
We'll do that.
and so that when we have the class discussion, it might help answer some of your questions that you have. So you can complete the scale part tomorrow as well. So we'll complete the rest of the stations, the class discussion, and the scale tomorrow. Okay? Can you?
Dale, que yo salgo.